Hello, everyone. Michelle Berndt here, your host of A Healthy Spirit. And this month's topic, while always changing, is about women empowerment and tapping into your magic. Christ made you exactly who you are meant to be. And all of us have this power and this passion and this magic deep down inside of us that we need to tap into. And sometimes it just here is all about listening to an inspirational story and hearing a vision and a purpose to realize what your own is. And so I have here with me today my friend and colleague, Tracie Wynn, who is the founder and CEO of Women of Insurance. Welcome, Tracie.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. I'm happy that you invited me to be here.
Yes, absolutely. We're so fortunate to have you. So we are just impressed with your story and your journey. Let's just start by you telling us how long Women of Insurance has been around and what even gave you the idea to start it?
Well, it was actually started in 2019, so 4 years. And I guess we officially became a company in 2022. So still very fairly new. That was in April. And honestly, I have been in sales my entire life, and I've been in insurance for about 10 years. But
Wow.
When I came into insurance, it was a completely different thing from what I was used to. So there was really not any type of direction. You're just kind of here, and it's like, just figure those things out as you go. But that can result in some really costly mistakes. And a whole lot of waiting periods for contracts if you don't know what it is that you're getting into. So Women of Insurance actually came about from my frustration within this industry. The first company I started with was a captive company, and then there was no training, there was no direction. It was just constantly recruit, talk to your family, refer them to us, we'll take care of it. And for me, if I don't know what's being sold, I'm not going to do that. So that didn't work. And then the next opportunity was also captive, and I actually ended up with lead debt. And I'm like, what is this? Why do I have lead debt from leads? I don't even know what that is. I haven't seen anything. What am I supposed to be doing with this? So then I was like, maybe I should just wait a minute and try and figure this out before I just go all in. So I stepped back, and for 2 years, I was just researching different parts of insurance and trying to understand it, figure out where I fit in, what all the opportunities were. And I actually got a lot of different offers, and I went through the orientations, and I got kicked out of all of the orientations. So they said that I was being disruptive when really all I was looking for was transparency. So that's what Women of Insurance provides, is the transparency that is hugely lacking in our industry, because you can know all of the pros about an opportunity, but you need to know the cons as well. You need to understand the risk also and know what your tolerance is, so you can figure out where it is that you fit in. So basically just starting this from years of frustration to be able to provide direction, support, guidance, make sure that women don't end up on step 4 when getting started, when they need to finish 1, 2, and 3 first, is what it's all about. So
Yeah, I love that. It's your experience was based on trial and error, which is life, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to fall to get to the end result, and just not giving up. You mentioned another thing that I think people, like, you ask people, why did you start your business? And a lot of times it came from they were seeking something they couldn't find anywhere, and they wanted to do it right. So then they start the business themselves, or like you, an organization. I mean, it's how it all starts. I love that. So you run a national organization that provides a collaborative and motivating culture. Woo! Not many people can say that. I love that. While it sounds easy, that sometimes is really hard to achieve in corporate America. Why is that?
For a lot of reasons. For one, you're managing a lot of different personalities, and you're constantly having to come up with content and create engagement and create the community and make people comfortable to be able to communicate there. So it is definitely a skill. There's a lot of groups that are started, a lot of communities that are started, but they lack the community. And then they end up not making any type of progress. So for us, like, we constantly have people that are requesting to join, and the process is super selective. So out of everyone who requests on any given day, we've got like 12 to 1500 women requesting to join, and less than half of those approvals will happen. So if someone is in Women of Insurance, you were actually chosen to be there. It's not a, everybody can come in and join. And that's the same thing for the memberships we have. That's the same thing for the events we host. The whole process is just very selective. We're looking for a certain type of woman to make sure that she fits with the culture that we've already created. The energy is positive, and everyone is here to help each other. So if someone is just, what's in this for me, it's not a good fit for what we're doing. So
yeah, for sure. And Tracie, you hit the nail on the head, because you may offer the best services and membership in all of the insurance industry, or just in general with any organization. But if you don't have the right culture and motivation, who wants to spend money for that?
Right.
It's almost like the driving force, even beyond how much the membership is.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think about it in the workplace too, right? Like at work, I love our culture, and besides loving my job, being VP of sales, it's fun. I meet so many people and travel to so many great places, and we're helping people at the end of the day, which is the most important to me. But if I got up, went to work every day, and didn't like my job because of the culture or motivation, bye.
Right.
Yep.
Right. That's very true.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I ran into in corporate America before I decided to work for myself. I mean, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, so working in 9 to 5 was probably never really in the stars for me anyway. But I didn't really fit in corporate America. I've always been an independent thinker, and I'm just a natural problem solver. So I look for problems and then find solutions to those problems. And when the company has already created and everything is in place, they're not always receptive to hearing those solutions that you have. They don't care. Things have been done this way for X amount of years. We're going to continue to do it, but there is no growth in that. And then people just don't feel like they belong. So just being able to have my own thing, to where I actually do ask members for feedback on everything that we create and everything that we do, because they're part of this community. So there's no reason for me to create it if they don't want to be a part of it. So being able to get that feedback and listening, and then implementing those, is how businesses become successful.
Yeah, 2 key words I hope everyone heard her say: a sense of belonging and community. It's almost one and the same, right? And I am part of Women of Insurance, and Tracie has asked me for feedback. And this isn't just insurance industry. This is with any corporation you are with. If you want people to buy into whatever you're selling or whatever you are passionate about, the best way to get someone's feedback and buy-in is to simply ask.
Yes.
Speaking of belonging and community, I was on your website just looking around, and I found something that I love. And I really want people to hear these 3 words. The acronym for Women of Insurance stands for Win, Overcome, and Inspire. I'm going to say that again: Win, Overcome, and Inspire. Tell us more about the vision behind this, because I love it.
Well, that actually is the theme of our conferences, and will be the theme of our retreats as well. So our overall theme of Women of Insurance is obviously women's empowerment, but our events always run on the weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So on Friday, all of the speakers that we have focus on telling stories of winning. How did they win in this industry? And then on Saturday, we move to overcoming. What did you have to overcome to be able to succeed here, to be able to sustain yourself in this industry? Because you got to overcome a lot of things, and this is not for the faint. Like, this is a tough industry to make it in, but you absolutely can. And then on Sunday, which fits perfectly because it is Sunday, that is our day of inspirational stories. So people sharing their personal stories of the things that they went through in the industry, how they came out on the other side of it. And just being able to leave an event with that inspiration is huge, because you're constantly getting beat down, not only in insurance, but just in sales in general. So those inspiring stories help. The motivation helps. You still got to have content and education and things like that. But that's how the acronym came about, and how it fits into not only our organization, but to our in-person events as well.
Yeah, you could almost do a whole podcast just on overcoming, because I think that's something people struggle to learn. Even myself, right? Like, number one thing you learn in sales is you will always get more no's than yeses, but the next no is closer to a yes. And so it just hearing no's all day long is just one in a million things in the sales industry that is hard. And so I think overcoming obstacles in life and those trials and errors, if you can slowly chip away at that and master that, like, you will be successful, because it takes a lot. So I love just the whole mantra around that, like overcoming and inspiring and just not giving up. That's good stuff. So let's call out the elephant in the room, male versus female perspective. Not only just in corporate America, I think we've gotten better, hands down, right? Like there is a lot of females in corporate America, but still in the insurance industry, I think it's a little male driven. And you and I can attest to that, right? And so let's talk about this. Like, what's the difference? Why are you female only driven? And why is it still male driven in the industry?
Why is still male driven in the industry? That's a really good question, but I'll come back to that one. So the first question, why we are female only, is because it doesn't exist. Like, there's so many, I've been to a lot of conferences. I've been to conferences for everything and women's events. And then I go and then there's still men speaking, or there's men behind the company. And I'm just like, where do I go to where it's just a women only thing? Not that I hate men, I absolutely love men. Even my son will be joining this business with me, but there's no events that I have ever been to that are 100% women. So for me, we're adamant about that, keeping our space to where it's women only. Now, our conference is open to men and women. Some of our partners are men, but when it comes to our speakers, when it comes to our community, when it comes to our membership, it's women only. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One being because it doesn't exist and is needed. Two being because we sell differently, we communicate differently, we feel differently, our lives look different. And the feedback that we need is different. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to relate if you see a woman who is talking to you about being successful and the steps you need to take when she's doing those things, versus when you hear it from a man who, don't get me wrong, not all men come home, and put their feet up and kick back with a drink and a plate and things like that, but a good bit do. And for me, that's not what happens when I come home. I have 5 children. I have my children, I have cooking, I have cleaning, I have scheduling doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, stuff for my husband, making sure my husband is good. And men just don't typically have these type of tasks. So when the feedback is, you just need to do more, set more appointments, make more calls, just get out and do more. And it's like, okay, I'll get out and do more when I'm already at my max and stressed and don't feel like I'm good enough at home, don't feel like I'm good enough at work. So let me just go do more. And women get upset or they get frustrated. They're like, this is just not for me. I'm just not going to do it.
They throw in the towel.
Right. But rarely ever is the solution to us, do more. That's not the solution that we need. It really comes down to saying no. What we need to do more is say no, because we say yes to everything. And what that does is it affects our personal life. It affects our mental health. It affects our business. It affects everything, because we put ourselves to the side and take care of everyone else, when really we'll get more done when we start saying, no, I'm not able to do this right now. I can't do this. I've got this commitment already, especially when you're in sales and you're building your own business, because people's like, well, you can just come and go when you get ready. It's like, no, like, I don't work for anyone, but during these hours, I'm not available. So no, I can't go run and do this, and I can't go run and do that. And I think that's one of the main things that makes our community so beneficial, is because it is so relatable, and the information that we get on what do I need to do to change? How do I need to get better? How do I build my agency with XYZ going on? Like, I've already got all of these commitments. What do I do? When you can talk to another woman who's doing those things and she has a similar lifestyle and she's making it work, then that's somebody who you want to say, hey, can I get 30 minutes of your time so I know what you're doing that I'm not doing, so I can fix this? And that's the reason, like, men can't help us grow the way another woman who is successful can help us grow.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not about men versus women. It's right. Just a different perspective and approach. And I think that's okay. And statistically, this isn't just Michelle's opinion. Statistically, women make the insurance decisions for families. So it
Yes.
kind of makes sense in my eyes, right? Like that's just kind of how it goes. It's one of those decisions that the wife kind of leans to make. But, I think back, I, like you, have been in sales forever, just different types of sales. And one of the things we would always do is when someone couldn't close a deal or didn't handle a customer a certain way on the phone, we would take a different approach and have someone else try. Maybe it's a different tone. Maybe it's a different gender, different ethnicity. It's all about who can they relate to. So I really think that having a women-only group in any type of industry is good, and a male-only group, because you guys can feed off each other totally different. And
Yes.
yes, I'm a mom too, Tracie, and when you are stretched too thin, there's no way in Sam Hill that you can give 100% to anything. You just can't. Yeah, that's really something we need to think about for sure. So, why do you think that in today's society we still struggle with females in the workplace getting treated equally? This is all about women empowerment. Why do we have to work 10 times harder to overcome stuff and get to the top?
I think that is a whole conversation on its own, but I would say the main issue is just a lack of understanding.
Mm.
I was a psychology major in college, and one of my really big things is understanding different personalities, being able to relate to those. And that helps tremendously, not only in your work life, but your personal life, literally all communication. Because if you can't understand where someone is coming from, you're not going to be able to help them. So let's say that you have a male boss and you feel like you're doing everything to be promoted, like you should be promoted, but what he's looking for and what you're doing are two totally different things. So then you may sit down and you're getting frustrated because you're like, I'm doing this, and this. And he's like, well, you're not doing this. And then she's looking like, well, you didn't explain that to me. Well, I thought you knew. Well, no. So being able to understand and communicate effectively with people from not even just all genders, but just people in general is huge. And that's why we had Sherry at our conference that you were at. Like, I'm just anything personality driven, selling to different personality types, communicating with different personality types. Sales comes down to psychology. And you've got to be able to read people. You've got to be able to communicate with people. Even in the workplace, you've got to be able to communicate effectively. And in my opinion, that is the number one issue with everything related to work, is the lack of being able to communicate effectively. If you're not on the same page, nothing's going to get done. You're going to feel not appreciated. They're going to feel like you're whining, and it's just, there's no solution there.
Yeah, there is a method to the madness, right? Like, some people think you just wake up and you're skilled at sales. It doesn't really work like that. You may have a personality that's really fit for it, but there is a scientific approach, right? Like, I love that you bring up psychology, because if psychology is not a part of who you are adding to your board of directors or to your employee list or to your membership base, like for you, you're not doing it right. Because how can you be relatable? How can you grow a true, effective, motivating community if psychology is not involved? Love that. So how do we empower more women to just be confident in themselves, but better yet, to support one another? It's not always a competition. And I love that meme that's out there that says, help others fix their crown before you fix your own. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I would really say confidence is something that you're able to really help someone with over time. You know, they're gonna gain it or they're not. There's just some people who are just not gonna be confident. And then this is, again, like, that could be a whole different type of conversation, but your confidence comes from yourself, yes, but it also comes from people who are around you, and that includes your family. So if you've got someone at home that's constantly beating you down, nothing is ever good enough, they're constantly talking down to you and making you feel like crap, and then you go to work and everybody is supporting you and it's great, then you're still going to be conflicted, and there's still going to be, I'm not good enough. Well, am I good enough here and I'm not good enough there? So you really have to protect your peace of mind. You have to protect your mental health by protecting your space. Not everyone has the right to be in your life, and it's okay to cut ties. It doesn't matter if it's friends, family, church members, whoever. You have to be willing to move those people out of your way so that you are able to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and your confidence is going to build, your motivation is going to build, because now your entire circle is different, and you have people that are constantly feeding into you versus people who are pulling things away from you. So with our community, like, I allow zero negativity or drama or just talking down to people. In other groups, like when I first started, I would post questions in groups, and then like, I'm literally just now getting into insurance, and some of the responses I would get back, people were just super hateful and just going all in, and I'm just like, who are they talking to, you know? And me knowing my personality, I'm like, let me just remove myself from this because I don't have time for it. Like, my entire feed for social media is absolutely positive. I don't have drama, I don't have negativity, I don't have any of those things, and I have zero issues cutting people out of my life. I don't care how long you've been a part of my life. If I start seeing that you don't belong, or there's some type of negativity there, or there's some type of drama, like, I'm totally okay to tell you bye, like, wish you well, but I'm done. Because I cannot. Like, there's so many young people now, they're dying from strokes and heart attacks and stress, and it's just not worth it. Like, you have to protect you. And sometimes you gotta end relationships to be able to do that.
Even in the business world, not everyone is a great fit, and that is okay. And you and your personality, like me, I'm loud and obnoxious. I'm like this from 7 a.m. to midnight, and you either love it or you don't, and that is okay. You have to do what's best for you. And one thing I want to point out is I'm a firm believer you are who you hang around. And yes. I went to this conference once, and the whole topic and thought process was, think about your inner circle, and are they pushing you or pulling you? I want you to think about your 5 closest friends right now, and you'll know on my podcast, Tracie, I love doing gut checks with the audience. So let's all think about this, right? Like, think about your 5 closest friends, whether it's personal, family, friends, coworkers, whoever. Do they motivate you? Do they inspire you? Do they hold you accountable, or do they sugarcoat everything? Because again, you are who you hang around. And, you know, kind of going back to what Tracie said, if it's not a good fit, it's okay to cut ties, because you need to be moving upward, not downward.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So I believe constant professional growth can make or break you. So why is training and development, which is a lot of what Women of Insurance is, such an integral part of your group?
Well, there's a couple of reasons, and one of them being, we have women that are captive, we have some that are independent, and we have some that are with companies. I guess they sell with more than one carrier, but they're still technically captive. So being able to have exposure to other women, other training, other products, just other information is going to help, because you may be somewhere for 5 years and you think it is the best thing ever. Like, I was with a company for about a year, and I'm constantly exceeding goals, and I'm making trips, and I'm doing all these things, and then I'm looking and I'm like, I'm broke, so what's going on here, you know? And I'm thinking certain clients can't get covered, like there's no option at all. And then I went independent, and I was like, oh wow, this is a whole new world. Like, this information, some of this information I got was good, but some of this information I got was not true. Like, it was true for that company, but it's not true for the industry. So being able to have different types of training and events that you can pop in and out of is not only going to expose you to more information that you may not know or may not have heard or been aware of, but it's also going to help you to see different lines of insurance, because you may be someone who you started in life insurance 2 years ago and you're still struggling. But you brought one of your friends into this industry, and she started 6 months ago, and she's absolutely just killing it. Like, she's just doing everything the right way and making all kind of money. And you're looking like, well, what's going on over here? Well, if you're able to go to these different types of trainings, then maybe you'll start realizing, okay, life insurance is not for me. Because life insurance, that's what I do. Life insurance takes a salesperson. Like, you've got to have pretty significant sales skills to succeed in life insurance. Whereas when you're talking to someone about health insurance or PNC or Medicare, not so much. If you introduce yourself and say, hey, I do insurance, they're automatically going to say, okay, well, can you help me with my car insurance? Can you help me with my health insurance? And I'm like, no, but I can help you with your life insurance. And they say, okay, well, I don't need that. Well, yeah, you do, because there's a 100% chance you're going to die. It's maybe a chance that you might need the health insurance, you might need the car insurance, but 100% you're going to die. So being able to have that different type of exposure to the information, and just to see the different lines of insurance, to say, okay, well, I've been trying to do life, this is really not it, but I got on this P&C training for commercial and I'm really interested in that. I think that's something I could actually dive into and learn and want to do. And then now simply changing the line of insurance that you're selling, like your entire business takes off. And it's the same for, we have some underwriters in the group, we have some people in claims, customer service. Sometimes they want to come over into sales, and sometimes salespeople want to go over into the other line of insurance, or the other part of insurance. So it's really just about figuring out where you fit in, and not being closed off from information, or not just being surrounded by the same people all the time, who's constantly just promoting the same people all the time. You have diversity. There is no favoritism. It's just, this is the information. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people see all these memberships and they see dollar signs and immediately cut it off, right? Like, I got to cut back somewhere. Your professionalism and your growth and your development cannot be where you cut. Because if you are not growing and learning, you are plateauing and failing. It's as simple as that, right? Like, we are not here on this planet as women to be mediocre. We are here to conquer. And that, I feel, is how you find your magic, right? That's the whole point of this. Like, how do you find your skills and your passions and what you're really good at, which is your magic? The secret ingredient is growing and learning and developing and tapping into others' brains and feeding off each other. And I've seen for myself that Women of Insurance, that's what it's all about. So Tracie, as we start to wrap up, how do people get involved? Like, maybe they want to be a trainer for your group. Maybe they want to attend one of your conferences. Maybe they want to get a membership. What do they do?
Well, the easiest way is just simply going to our website and figuring out what it is that you're interested in. Our website is womenofinsurance.org. And just go in there, you'll see the links to join our different Facebook groups. There is no charge to join our Facebook community. We're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, like YouTube. We're literally everywhere. So there's no charge there. And then that kind of gives you an opportunity to come in and see what our group is about. And I will say that the membership process there is a bit lengthy. So if you're like, hey, I submitted this request 3 months ago and I'm still pending, just message me directly on Facebook. I always check my messages. And then we can work toward getting you approved. But like I said, we don't automatically approve everyone. So there is a process for that to get members approved. And then if you are wanting to attend our events, you'll see that information on our events page. Our next conference is actually June of 2025 that will be hosted every 2 years versus every year. And that's because a lot of our time goes into selecting the right speakers, because we're not looking for speakers to come and talk about specific lines of insurance on main stage. We're looking for speakers really that are going to help us to grow our business, our agencies, our mind. It's just
motivation.
It's a very different type of speakers that we're looking for. And then our first membership retreat is actually January of 2025. And that is on Royal Caribbean. And it's actually a ship that has not even set sail yet. It does not set sail until the summer of 2024. And we are booked for January of 2025. So awesome. We're really excited about that. And that takes place January 10th through the 13th. Tickets actually are on sale now for that. And then with our membership, we have the 3 different membership options. General being no charge, our training membership, if that's all you want to participate in, and then we have our chapter membership. So it's really up to you, your goals, your budget, what it is that you need. And you can always schedule a strategy session with myself or Catherine Arnold, which is my partner, and we'll be able to help you, to connect you to whoever is able to help you if we can't, and just be able to help you navigate the group, because we have a lot of things available.
It's all about connections. And how many members approximately do you guys have now?
Across our entire community, we have more than 15,000 women that work in insurance in the U.S. And our main group has a little over 11,000 of those members. We have subgroups for telesales, if that's your focus, retirement planning, health and Medicare, PNC. And then we have some other partnership groups of some of our larger partners, really to, I guess, dive into those products and services, if that's something that is what you need.
Yeah. Tracie, thank you for sharing your story. I mean, I think it's really important for women, because sometimes you see a corporate woman and you're like, oh, they have it all together. It must be nice. When behind the scenes, it was blood, sweat, and tears to get where we're at. Trial and error, baby, right? So it's good to hear stories of going from, I don't like it, I can't do it, I failed, to thousands of women that you are helping nationwide now. And I know it's cheesy, but I'm going to say it. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. It's just, are you consistent? Are you leaning on those who can support you? Because you can't get there alone. No one ever has. Right. So I think, involving yourself in a group like Women of Insurance, or just any training and development group, you got to have it, because when you're failing, someone else is achieving, and to feed off each other, that's the definition of success. So I appreciate you, pouring into women and just making women better in general, but also all you do in our industry. And we always like to end a podcast with inspiration. Is there a Bible verse or quote that keeps you going?
I would say the Bible verse for me is, God is within her, she cannot fail. And for me, that is huge, because I always take on a lot of different endeavors that people have not done. And, I'm just leading the way. So it's kind of like, okay, well, we're either going to be really successful or we're not, but either way, we're going to try it and see what happens. But I truly believe that if this was not something that I was meant to be doing, God wouldn't give me the vision. So that's something that you have to trust. If you have the vision to do something, you literally will have everything you need to make it happen. Even if you don't have it right then, just start somewhere, and what you need is going to come to you. Whether that's the connections or the money or the support, whatever it is, it'll come. You just have to get started and believe that you're able to do it, and just trust where God is leading you to be.
Yes. And it may take longer than some, and it may be super quick than some, but his timing's never wrong. And I knew you and I thought alike, because one of my favorite quotes is, if God is for you, then who on earth can be against you? Right. He's got a plan for you. Just hang on. So thank you. Again, everyone, this is Tracie Wynn. She is founder and CEO of Women of Insurance. Please take the time to check out their website, womenofinsurance.org. And as always, join us next month for another topic, and happy fall. God bless.